All right, moving on to part two of the miniseries, which, if you consider this a trilogy of films, since they're an hour and a half apiece, this would be the middle chapter in the trilogy, and I have to say it's the weakest of the three. I have just finished all three, and this one kind of lacks. Overall, I do like this. I do think that it is a pretty good adaptation. It's just, unfortunately, the movie isn't all that high quality because of it being a 1997 television miniseries. Watch any freaking miniseries or any television show from 1997, and the majority of them are going to have very similar issues as this. There's tons of Stephen King miniseries that I love, from Storm of the Century to The Langoliers to The Stand. They all have very similar issues. Production issues, acting issues, what have you. And this is, one of them. And so, all right, we got a Mick Garris cameo here in the beginning, and I don't think it's an accident that his name, the directing credit for his name, happens to just go right over his cameo where he's standing there and his name is below him. I thought that was funny. The doctor in this seems to be a very caring doctor. I know that doesn't really matter to most people, but I've been to the doctor a lot in my life. I've suffered from hypochondria and anxiety, and I've had some health issues because of it, and I've been there because I wasn't sick, but I thought I was many, many, many times. And let me tell you, there's a huge difference between doctors' bedside manners. Some are those never look up from my clipboard, don't even acknowledge you as a human being, want you out of the room in 5 minutes or less, write you a prescription for who God knows fucking what. I'll never, actually go and get the damn thing because they're just like, this should make you better anyway. Okay, bad. And it's like, hey, doctor, over here. Like, remember, I'm a human being. Hippocratic oath. Like, anything for me. But then, there's every once in a while you meet a doctor who sits down and he actually gives a shit, or she. In my experience, I think every doctor that I've ever actually had sit down and talk with me was male, but I haven't experienced a lot of female doctors. That's a different discussion altogether. But, yes, they're supposed to care for you physically. Like, that's what you're there for. They're doctors of medicine in the body. But your bedside manner matters a lot as well. It really does, because there's such a comfort in being acknowledged as a human, being acknowledged compassionately, like you actually care about my safety, my health, my future, that you want to see me get through it, that there's, some kind of bond as humans, like, hey man, I got you. Like, this is why I'm in this. I'm here for you. Like, I want to listen. I want to fix you. I want to have you on to the best life that you can have, whatever. And it's very much felt. And there's a lot of physical ailments come from mental ailments. So when a doctor comes in and he doesn't make you feel any better, it adds to the stress. You feel like I wasn't heard. Maybe they missed something, maybe this and that, and your brain goes in and you go further down the rabbit hole, and your body and your mind are symbiotic in that way. And when one crashes, the other one does as well. So to see a doctor that actually sits with Wendy and talks to her and seems to actually genuinely care, it's nice, it's just refreshing. It's something that, I wish we got more of in our experience at the doctors. Anyways. That's a little personal thing there, but just hit me when he was talking to her. I was like, this guy actually cares. This guy's actually taking the time. I mean, she's Rebecca De Mornay. She's hot as hell. I mean, I don't really feel like that's what it was, though. Another big difference between this and the Kubrick version is Grady was single. The caretaker Grady was single, no kids, no twins, none of that. So we get none of that. In fact, what we get in replacement of that is a killer fire hose that doesn't kill anybody but has these horrible CGI teeth on it. Oh my good God. You want to know what Jack's first signs of real craziness is in this? Rebecca De Mornay coming down in a fucking skimpy ass lingerie, you know, and coming on to him and him just being like, anyway, and she's being so cut and dry about it. She's like, Jack, vagina, want you in it, let's go. And he's just like, oh, I got some old papers to go through. Wow. And Jack is like a true alcoholic, because I know a lot of alcoholics. I used to be one. You know, he's actually the exact opposite of most people who don't have issues with alcohol, not like alcoholic issues, and they get horny when they drink. Jack's the exact opposite. He wants nothing to do with his wife. He wants nothing to do with sex when he's drunk. But man, yeah, when Rebecca De Mornay's coming on to you and you are like, yeah, whatever, anyway, you've lost it, man. You need to go see that doctor from the beginning we were talking about. He'll listen. He'll care. And yeah, I mean, the whole Jack obsessing over the papers and the documents and the news articles and all that stuff in the basement, and kind of learning the history of the Overlook and all that, much different. And it kind of makes me think about Jack always being the caretaker and how this was his destiny, and kind of shedding some light on that whole picture at the end of Kubrick's version of him there in 1922. That's some party event, from what I can tell. As I said, I don't remember the book very well, so this might be fully addressed there. They don't even address it in this one, really. But not that the picture's at the end, because it isn't. But as far as that all goes, Jack was there in 1922 because he was always there. He's always been a part of the Overlook. It's his destiny. Somehow, when he comes in, he's like, I feel like I've always been here. He has always been there. He always was supposed to be there. And that party has some significance to it, that whenever you become entangled and tethered to the Overlook, you are a part of that party. That very iconic moment there. And you were always there. You've always meant to be there. You're always going to be there. It's an interesting thing to think about. And so I didn't talk about it in my Kubrick version, but now that I'm more watching this and getting more pieces to the puzzle, I'm like, okay. So this is one of those always has been, always will be kind of dealios. So that makes sense. The watching a marriage fall apart is always extremely sad to me. It's just really, really devastating. Because you have this institution of marriage that brings a family together. And this is a family that tries to, you know, create this love and this home and everything together. And there's, when it breaks apart, this, you know, this schism that comes between the family, and a kid kind of has to choose sides in a way, or try to spread his love out without, you know, taking away from the other. It's really sad to watch. This movie, that's what I feel like that's what this does better, is it shows a family slowly disintegrating before our eyes, and the genuine like sadness that comes from that. That's devastating. It's never a good thing when families separate. Do I support families separating if need be? Absolutely. I don't think people should stay with people that make them unhappy. The whole stay together for the kids thing doesn't work. No matter how much you push for it, no matter how much you want it to work, it just doesn't work. Because your kids are smarter than you think they are. They're much more in tune with things. They're much more perceptive. They know your unhappiness. And your unhappiness makes them think that that's normal. And that's why we become products of our parents. And kids who grow up with shitty relationships usually get themselves into shitty relationships because they think that's their worth. And so you got to do the right thing, and you've got to do what's best for everybody. And in the end, being happy, everyone being happy is the best possible outcome. And how do you get to that? So, but I mean, ideally, of course, you would want it to be as a union, as a joint family, like together. And any way you can have that happen while also being happy, that's the trick. And so watching a family fall apart like this, and that's what King has always done so well, is he writes fully realized three-dimensional characters. The horror is secondary, always. You can pick any one of his novels, and the character development, the character focus, the central focus is always on the characters. We care about the characters. And then the horror comes in and disrupts the lives of those who we care about. So, as a horror writer, he knows, first and foremost, we have to care or we won't care. All the worst shit you could ever, you could come up with the most horrendous situations of all time, put them in the freaking meat grinder, and if you don't give a shit about those people, who cares? They're fictional characters. They're not real people. So when you got to make them real people. You got to make them real people to us. Because we know instinctually they're fake. They're not real characters. But a good writer can trick us into believing they are real. And King does that very well. And that's something that's done very well in this. Not great. There isn't a perfect dynamic between them. Things are still a little broken at this point. I would have liked to have seen them in their really good state at one point. And then Jack, falling apart, breaking Danny's arm, that kind of stuff. We see it in flashbacks a little bit. But there's already this, there's already something wrong with the family by the time we meet them. Jack's already fucked up. Jack's already beat up a student. He's already broke Danny's arm. He's already done these things. So when we meet them, there is issues already. But that's real. You've come upon families that are already in a state of disarray. Doesn't make you feel less for them. Just, in fact, a lot of the times it makes you feel more. Because when someone walks by and, how are you doing? I'm good. Do you stop to see why they're good? No, they're good. They're good with their life. Adios. Good on. Blah, blah, blah. How are you doing? Not so great. Oh, really? What's wrong? We care in that way. You're going to stop and you're going to be like, oh, you're not good? Okay, why are you not good? Rarely are you ever going to be like, really, you're great? Why? Wow. Unless somebody's over the top, I'm fan-freaking-tastic. And then it's like, oh, well, I want to know why you're fan-fucking-tastic. So it seems to be one or the other. Anyways, okay. So I guess I'm bringing all this up because I feel like we don't really get a good sense of the family in Kubrick's version. And in this, we get a better sense. Not a perfect sense, but a better sense. So that's somewhere where this film actually does it better. But, they have 4.5 hours, and Kubrick had 2.5. So you got 2 full more hours to explore their relationship. So, advantage. And they took advantage of it. So that's good. The hedge animal stalking Jack is awesome. The hedge animal stalking Danny is terrible. So the way they did it with Jack is they do these cuts where every time Jack looked back, it was like a game of freaking red light, green light. And it was looks back, they're a little closer. Looks away, looks back, they're a little closer. And he tries to run, and then he falls, and he looks up, and it's right there in front of him. Awesome stuff. We don't have the technology to make them move around and for it to look realistic. Let's shoot it in this clever way. It's creepy. It's effective. It's awesome. Good stuff. Bad decision to show them in CGI walking behind Danny. Terrible. Green little blobs. Awful. Just dreadful. Don't do that stuff. You should look at the technology of your time and go, is this up to snuff for my film? Because film's forever. You're not going to change it. So, is it up to snuff? No, it isn't. Okay, they're not there yet. Not for this effect. So how can I shoot this to where it is effective? Mick Garris did it in the beginning with the hedge animals creeping up slowly with clever cuts and angles. But then he blew it by letting them insert this terrible CGI. Why? Why do that? Come up with cleverer ways to get around what clearly isn't there yet. Could they do a really good job nowadays? Yes. And if it was shown, if they could show you models of like, here's a 2-second clip of what we could do, is that the route you want to go down? Oh, wow, we're there. That looks great. Sweet, let's do that. Or that doesn't look good yet. We're not there yet. That's close, but that's not what I want. So you know what? We're going to go a different route. We're going to try to shoot it in a different way. Done. I mean, he should have looked at that and been like, no, we're not going to show that. That's terrible. I don't care what time it was. I don't care. That's the kind of stuff I won't look past. People, they always say, oh, they're just products of the time. No, not with shitty CGI like that. To me, that's unacceptable. To me, you look at that and you go, that just looks terrible outright. In 97, they knew that looked terrible. But they decided to go for it anyways. Bad decision. Anyway, moving on. Miguel Ferrer, he's in The Stand. He's also in Night Flyer. He's been in a few Stephen King movies. He plays the voice of Jack's father in this, which was really cool to hear. And as soon as you hear his voice, it's like instantly you know it's freaking Miguel. And I definitely feel for Jack a little bit more in this. And that's because we get more time to spend with him and his father and his real struggle with alcoholism, which he fights like crazy in this. See, in the Kubrick version, he calls for the alcohol. I sell my damn soul for just a glass of beer. They're actually pushing the booze on him. And Jack sitting there like, no, I quit. Please, I quit. Leave me alone. He doesn't want it. And let me tell you, as a person who quit drinking, who hung out in the bars my whole freaking 20s, and not all my 20s, sorry, my early 20s and my late teens, people do not support you quitting. Certain people will. Good people will. But friends, bar friends, they do not want you to quit. They're not supportive at fucking all. I have went through so much shit to quit. I had people want to fist fight me because I wouldn't have a drink with them. Literally. Fist fight me. I've had to get into physical altercations with people I used to drink with because I told them I didn't drink anymore. Why do you think people relapse a lot? Because they don't have a support system. And this hotel is pushy. And it psychologically manipulates him, breaks him down, and he turns to the one thing that brought him joy every time: alcohol. And so you make him depressed, and then you offer him his happy pills, and it's fucking sad, man. And someone who went through stuff like that. It wasn't a hotel, it wasn't a freaking haunted hotel. It was people who claimed to be my friends. And let me tell you, I just so happen to be the kind of person who's not peer pressurable. So I'm lucky in that way, or I'm strong, or whatever you want to call it. But if I say no, I mean no. And if you push against my no, I don't even care if you make sense. I'm stubborn. This is actually to my detriment at times. But I don't even care if you start to make sense and you start to sell me on something. My no should have been good enough. And it becomes a firmer and firmer and firmer no the further you push me on something I'm like dead set on. Like, especially drinking. There's no argument to be made. I was just like, I don't give a fuck, dude. I will beat the shit out of, I don't care. You might be even bigger. You might be able to beat the shit out of me. I don't care. I'll take the beating. I'm not taking the drink. So I'm that way. I know a lot of people aren't. And that's okay. That's, that's their own right. That's their own stuff. But yeah, I guess, this is an alcoholic drinker, or not alcoholic drinker, an alcoholic writer. And that's exactly what I was. So I absolutely relate to Jack. And he's also dealing with a family that's falling apart. You know, him and the mother of his kids and whatnot, as you know, they can't get along, and I unfortunately can relate to that too. So in this moment, I definitely feel a little more for Jack than maybe some other people would. Okay, on a completely different note, completely changing course here. Not only does this little Courtney Mead kid have the most punchable fucking mouth and face I've ever seen on a child, but he also has extreme, it's only in one shot that I really noticed it. Everyone's going to laugh because this is such a nitpick of nitpicks and just seems like I'm being mean to be mean, but fucking A, this kid has, his arm hair is like this long. He turns and it looks like it's like flowing in the wind like fucking Bigfoot on a motorcycle. It's so fucking absurdly long. There's this one scene where he puts his arm up and it's like just freaking flowing in the wind. It's so long. Why is his fucking arm hair so long? And why is his fucking teeth so big it won't fit in his stupid mouth? Punch this kid's face. Punch this kid's face. I can't. There's a picture. Look on IMDb. If you haven't seen this miniseries and you're just watching this, look on IMDb at the first picture. Just look at his profile picture. He's got these like little these little rectangle glasses on. They're like pushed down from his face, and he's just like, Yee. It's seriously, you just want to punch the face. Even if you were like, this is a really cool kid. Even if you were hanging out with him, and you're like, I really like this kid. You'd still want to smash his face. You'd still just be like, I want to punch it. I want to fucking punch your child face. Oh my God, I'm a terrible person. Oh well. All right, so the chick in the tub in this is way more rotten than the one in Kubrick's version. And I like that we actually get to see her yank Danny back into the room after he thought he had gotten out of there. Take your medicine, you little pup. What's up with the little pup? They can say bitch in this plenty of times, but like, I guess what would he have, I mean, shit would have been the right word here. You little pup? Pup? It's just, I feel like it completely undermines the performance here from Steven Weber. Like, I feel like he's trying to give it his all. And I do feel like there are some genuine moments with him where he looks out of his fucking mind. And it's at the very, very end. And he just looks like even more evil and insane. It's really actually pretty good, I have to say. When he goes absolutely bonkers at the very end, and he has blood all over his face, and he looks all like dead almost, I really like that. But him having to say the same lines over and over again, like, come out here and take your medicine, where are you, you little pup? Little pup is just, there's nothing intimidating about that. There's nothing menacing about little pup. So I feel like this is what I'm saying. I don't think Stephen King he writes novels. And in reading that, it sounds so much different than hearing it out loud. Like, read it out loud and you'd be like, little pup? Little pup? Like, that's something you say, that's like a cute nickname for your kid. Like, oh, come here, little pup. Yelling that at them? Come here, little pup! Just, you little pup? No. Come here, you little fucking shit. I'm gonna bash your brains in. Like, there's a huge difference. Come here, you little fucking asshole. You know what I mean? I mean, I know they can't say asshole here, but a pup, they could have come up with something better. Bastard? Bastard? They could say bastard on TV. No problem. Bastard? Come here, you little bastard. Doesn't you feel like that's stronger and would give a better range to his performance than saying pup? Come here, you little pup. Come here, little puppy. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone on that one, but stupid line. Kissin', that's what I've been missing. This movie has a lot of repetitive lines. Another thing that happens in here that I can completely relate to is anytime my kids get in trouble, Jen always refers to them as your kids. And in this, anytime he's upset with Danny, he's like, you know what your son has been up to? It's not our son. When a parent's really angry with their kid and they're yelling at or mad or trying to convey to the other parent, it's always your kid. It's not my problem. It's your kid. You know what your fucking kid did today? Your kid? When it's you know, an accomplishment, when it's something they did good. Oh, honey, did you see what our child did? It's always their problem, and that's something I found funny in this. You know what your kid, the little pup, that little cute puppy. All right. A little difference here is Danny actually blames his mom for the abuse, and Jack flips it on her, and he's like, I know you wouldn't, but it's not nice being accused. And it's like, yeah, Dick, but you're the one that broke his arm. You're the one that's been acting like a psycho. You're the one that didn't want to fuck Rebecca De Mornay in a cute little slip. So you're the psychopath here, not me. They know someone. They both agree that someone attacked Danny and is in the hotel. But Wendy totally accepts Jack when he's like, all right, you know, when things clear up, I'll take you into town. All is going to be well. And she's like, okay. And then she just goes back to washing windows and is like, stay close, Danny. I know you're outside by yourself, but all is well. What? No way. That is a complete breakdown of logic in that character. Bullshit. She would have been like, let's leave right now. And then that's when Danny is being pursued by the freaking little hedge animals, the little pups, little hedge pups. Could a hedge animal kill you? I mean, what's it gonna do? Gnaw you to death with its freaking twigs and its leaves? Oh my God, he's biting into me with his leaves. I don't know. I guess the branches could be strong enough that they'd actually penetrate skin. But anyways, all right, let's move on.